Pastor Greenleaf.
Bishop's free and clear scoop. Story's over. No comment.
I'm not here for the paper.
It's a nice try.
I thought you might want to go on a post-scandal date. Yeah, to celebrate.
You know, whoever told you were funny did the world a great disservice.
Well, I'm serious. Look, I'll be off the clock.
Is that really possible?
I give you my word as a Christian.
Mr.
What?
Nash, I'm flattered. No.
Okay? If you change your mind. And it's Darius.
Hello. Can we make some more noise for Merle Dandridge, please? Amazing. Welcome to A Will Build. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm excited. This is fun.
This is a lot of fun. So you play Grace Greenleaf. I know, right?
Oh,
we're getting crazy already.
All right.
You play Grace Greenleaf on Greenleaf.
I do.
Now, this is a personal question from me, but Keith David, that voice, does it ever get old?
It never gets old, and he's generous with it. You know, he's always singing for us and giving us classic jazz. It's an education every day.
So he plays the bishop, and you play his daughter.
I do.
Almost like a prodigal daughter of sorts, coming back home, was going to be a hotshot reporter, but then you decided to come back. And now we're in the second season. We're about to be 2 episodes in tonight. Talk about the story arc that your character goes through, and how do you end up where you are today?
Well, so as you said, she's the prodigal daughter, and it started that she was the prodigy daughter. She was the heir apparent to the pulpit of this amazing bishop of a megachurch in Memphis, Tennessee. And when a lot of things went down in the church, went down in the family, she became disillusioned and she left home. So now she has come back in the first season because of the death of her sister, and she thinks she's just coming for the funeral, but in fact she realizes, I have a new toolbox. Now is the time for me to do the things that I was not able to do as a kid. So she stays to unearth all of those things, and the thread unravels farther than she could have ever even planned on it. So she sets about finally righting those wrongs and realizes she's opened a box much bigger than she could actually handle. So now we're in season 2, she's sitting in the collateral damage, and the lines start to blur for her because, you know, she's been seeking justice. She's always wanting to do what's right. And I think that's also why she became a journalist, because in the same way that she was not able to speak up, she had so much power in the written word and in the spoken word and as a journalist. And she made a life of uncovering truths and telling those, being a truth seeker. So when she comes back and she's so adamantly still on the same course, she veers a little to the dark side. So we see Grace take a little bit of a left turn in her mission this season.
The thing I love about the show is that it kind of shows you this, like, they're being a little self-righteous. You know, they preach the gospel, they preach the word, but at the same time, they have their own faults themselves. Mm-hmm. And what took so long for us to have a television show about the black church in America? What took so long?
You know, I get asked that question quite a bit because what we're talking about resonates so deeply. It's started so many conversations and so many important conversations. I think the time, as Oprah says, she had tried over and over and over again with the Oprah show all those years to try to tell these stories, but she wasn't able to find success in it. And I think the time was right. We're ready to talk about it. We're ready to deal with these things. And what's wonderful is that when it's in a narrative, the way that we have it built into Greenleaf, is that you get to see every facet of, I'm not going to say an argument, but you know, a situation or a condition that we are in as, you know, just humanity. And when it's in a narrative form like that, we can empathize. We can find better understanding. And what I find is most heartbreaking is when we are on different sides of, I guess, an argument. I use that word, I'm not wanting to use that word hesitantly, that we're quick to close our ears before we speak. And in fact, it should be the other way around. We should open our ears and try to understand. And when we are looking at these characters and we love these characters, we fall in love with these people, we fall in love with their entire situation. And that's why I think people are are really connecting with our characters.
And you connected in a major way because the show takes place in Memphis. And you had some time growing up in Nebraska, but your father at the Pentecostal church in Memphis. So talk about that influence and how you brought it to your character, Grace.
Well, you know, we film in Atlanta, and yes, all the Dandridges are in the Black church in Memphis, and it was really wonderful. I went home to Memphis for a weekend, and, you know, I'm related to most of that city. So I get in the car and I'm like, I'm going to be in Memphis in like 4 or 5 hours. Anybody there? And, 30 people show up to dinner last minute. And we're sitting around the dinner table, and I found myself, I was like, this is it. We're sitting around the dinner table in the same way that the Greenleafs do, and we're talking about these same things. And at the core of it, no matter where our lives might be different, no matter how polar opposite we might be, we're blood, we're family, and those are the ties that also connect the Greenleafs. And, people say a lot, like, why does your mama hate you so much on the show? At the core of it, I wouldn't push her buttons so much if she didn't love me very much, and if she didn't have hope in who I was and who she wanted me to be.
And Lynn Whitfield plays that character.
Lynn Whitfield, come on.
Lady May. She plays it majestically.
Yes.
Do you pick up tips from her as you guys are going through these scenes? Yes, really. I guess it's a question I could ask right now. Why does your mama hate you so much? Why does this come out like this? Because it's almost like we keep wanting them to just absolve these issues, but something up just keeps coming up. Something new just keeps coming. Yeah.
Well, what I really love, and if you caught the season premiere, you saw that she's not just a hard, single-minded person. She's also a broken person as well, and she's doing the very best that she can to hold her family together, to hold that legacy together. And in the same way, I feel like Grace has inherited that, because what is she going to leave behind for her daughter? Those are the things that she's thinking about. And so I guess I get the question a lot that, well, wasn't she against the church, and now she's in the church, she's in the pulpit, and yes, because what is she going to leave for her daughter? The Greenleaf name, at the end of the day, that's what she can give her.
And one thing that's interesting that happens in the first episode of the second season is Bishop, the case gets dropped. But you see how that happens through the machinations of Lynn and her character, Lady May. Now, what is the...
Do y'all see that?
Pretty crazy.
Come on. I know everybody was talking about that this week.
What is the strength of how this show portrays the different sides of Black women? And I guess you could see Oprah's hand in it by how each character is both strong but yet flawed in their own different ways.
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Strong. Well, that's one thing that I feel very gifted about in this show, is that we're not just saying, oh, here's, She-Ra, Princess of Power, wielding my sword, and I'm gonna, come and knock everything down. No, she's dealing with her own personal issues, and Grace is also dealing with her own flaws, and even though she may be looking at everyone else, she's still beating herself up inside. And I think I love that these characters are so fully drawn, because even though one is trying to constantly do the right thing, and search for what is right and bring the truth to the front, you're still human. And people are going to come up against you. You're going to make mistakes, big mistakes sometimes. And what the difference is when you have the courage to get up one more time and continue in the purpose that God has put in your life.
And the purpose what do you believe actually is the purpose that God put in Grace's life, especially as where we are right now?
Well, as one of the deacons said, she called her a prophet of some sorts. And I do believe that Grace was born with her ear very close to the tongue of God. And when life and when humanity kind of broke her faith, when it made her disillusioned, I think she felt a little bit out of touch with that connection. And she's been out of touch with that connection for a while. So now that she's come back and she's standing in the pulpit and still listening for him, I think she's looking for her way back to him. So I don't think that calling has ever left her. I just think she has fallen out of touch with it. And I still believe that there are things that she needs to do with and through that calling.
I want to talk about, obviously, Oprah. To bring it back to when you were in Rent, an older actor had told you to cherish the moment you walk out on that stage. Now, the first day of your shooting on this show ever, you're working with Oprah. How did you cherish that, and what was that feeling when you saw that breakdown and you saw Oprah Winfrey's name was on it?
Yes, this is it. This felt ordained right from the beginning because I understood her. She felt familiar. She felt like just putting on clothes that I've always had. And there could be a lot of intimidation coming against falling into step with one of the most incredible influencers on this planet, because she's absolutely an incredible human being. But there's also there was great meaning and purpose, and I never felt like it was beyond me because I knew that my steps had been ordered to come to this place, and I had the tools in my pocket. I just had to access them.
Please.
Oh, thank you.
And I also feel that they've given Oprah's character such growth. Like, she starts the season with a cup of whiskey next to her bed. After owning a bar.
Wasn't that a trip to see?
Yeah. With, bossing Alonzo around with a little boy toy. And, I know, it is pretty crazy to watch. Because Oprah was like a second mother to me growing up, always watching her on television.
What you doing?
What is it like seeing, how does she prepare? Are you sitting there constantly taking tips from her, getting ready to also do work on your own scenes? Are you constantly in awe of watching this woman act these lines out, play this character, and be this mogul, and be this icon for Black America?
Mm-hmm. It's not just that she's an incredible actress and that we've seen her through the years. Let's just box off the acting thing alone. We've seen her through the years just lay down some of the most heartbreaking characters that stay with you, and you learn from them. And for me, that was a little intimidating, but then you get in the room with her and it's just like, okay, let's just play. Let's just do this thing. But in the midst of that, she doesn't miss anything. And she will still, if I have a big scene to do, my mind can't go anywhere else. I'm 100% there. She can do that. She can slay the scene and still be like, stand to your full stature, Merle. Never shrink for anyone. It's amazing that she can be that present in everything. She doesn't miss anything.
I think one thing the show does not miss is a little bit of the hard conversations in the Black church and the Black community, especially with Kevin that's going through. He's in reparative therapy, which I would hope the majority of us do not agree with. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he's doing that shows an interesting side of how he thinks that there's something wrong with him. Do you feel that there needs to be more understanding in the Black church in order to allow folks like this to just live their true lives?
I do, 100%. And I think, when I think of the way Jesus walked this earth, it was let everyone come to me. And it was live in love. And we are going to talk a lot about this particular issue this season. And I hope y'all will come on this journey and, tweet with us, talk to us on Facebook, all of that kind of stuff, because it's a very important conversation. And I hope it really ignites it.
And especially because it finds out to be this is one of the reasons why the donations are down. And it seems like it's a community thing that's a little ostracizing as compared to accepting and wanting. They don't talk about it in public, but at the dinner table, we were right on it.
Right. Well, I'm going to say go ahead and let's have the conversation after it airs, after you see it.
I'm sure we have some fireworks.
Yeah.
So talk about Rick Fox. We were talking about him backstage, and we just saw the clip of him giving you his card. And now I was talking about how I know Rick Fox as the championship LA Laker.
Yeah.
But the fact that he is doing all these roles, and he's kind of setting up to be a little of a love interest for you?
Well, look, his character, Darius Nash, is a journalist. So Grace don't have no friends. You know, she needs someone she can talk to. And so she finds a contemporary, somebody with whom she can volley these ideas back and forth. How can we be more than just fighting with my family? How can we actively, in the community, do something? How can we use our gifts and our power to mobilize these issues? And I think she finds somebody that she can actually talk to about these things, and that is a contemporary. And if they have chemistry, I don't know.
More fireworks. So you have an extensive on-stage career.
Oh, yes.
And you traveled the world, and I have some friends that are actually currently in traveling shows. It's grueling.
The tour life?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, even, being on these 15 blocks of Broadway, I do miss my Broadway community because it is a very close gypsy tribe. But it's, 8 shows a week. You have to use your body and your instrument and your life like an athlete. And then on top of that, if you go out on the road and you're trying to, what do you do? Chassé, tour jeté, all that stuff. And you're carrying like 2 big suitcases and throwing your back out while doing it. It's an extra set of extra, #extra, So hats off, but I think I was ready. I was ready to transition to television when I did.
It seems like it's a lot of it is for the love, though.
Oh, yes.
Because this is not necessarily glamorous. You're not getting million-dollar deals for these shows and to, like you said, carry 2 suitcases to places.
But at the same time, I am so grateful for my Broadway family, and they're still my Broadway family, because they're nurturers of that creative spirit. There's a spark in the community, and everyone's so talented. We could just go, we used to go over to like Cutting Room or Bitter End or whatever and just put on a show just cause, and just rock it out just because we could. And I miss that vibe. Although with Keith David, we do like to duet together on set a lot.
Now, let's go back to kind of like your origins. You were born in Japan, and you spent a lot of your time in Seoul. And your mother would tell you that, she wasn't necessarily 100% accepted by both places where she was in, and she kind of instilled a lot of confidence in you in navigating the world through that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, my mother is Japanese and Korean. She's born of 2, especially in her generation. She was there for the split of Korea. She was there during World War II, and these 2 cultures have historically not liked each other. So she had a Korean inflection in her Japanese. She had a Japanese nose for walking around Korea, so she was always a little hesitant about who she was. And what I have learned is that you can't paint a full picture just by what you see or what you think you know. You have to go deeper. You have to get to know people. You have to listen, and you have to connect. And we are not one thing, and we are so much deeper than that. And I always hope for that when I walk into a room, and I have learned to lead with that.
When you say lead with that, can you dive into that a little
live
more?
my life that way. Like when, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, this is who I am.
Or I want to see you. I want to see more of you.
Yeah. That's beautiful. No, but it truly is. And especially being like Black and Asian on top of that. And it's just like having this confluence of all these amazing cultures. And then, going through all these places. Do you speak Japanese? Do you still?
Oh, when I was little, we spoke Korean because my siblings they were born in Korea. But my cooking's Korean. I like to call it a mix of collards and kimchi.
Collards and kimchi. So I think we might have some audience questions.
Okay.
Hi.
Stand up, introduce yourself.
How are you? My name's Nico. How are you?
Nico?
Yeah. Hi. So I was just wondering, since I know I'm familiar with the show, since it deals with like sensitive topics and things like that, what are some topics that you shied away from maybe at first, and maybe you weren't too comfortable with? I just wanted to know a little bit.
Topics that Merle shied away from, or the show shied away from?
Well, your character, Merle.
Oh,
Like
Grace
Great.
shied away from?
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's talking about what
you,
like, they talk.
like you reading the script and like, is there any off-limit topic?
Are there any off-limit topics in Greenleaf? For me, I don't think any of the topics were off limits because we were embracing them in a story format. I think it's great to just go on the journey and discover together. So for me, no, nothing off limits. Let's go there. Why not?
You have another?
Hey, Merle. My name is Chanel, and I'm actually a pastor's child. So I love the fact that you guys had, right? I love the fact that you guys had a show of this magnitude. And like you said, they took a long time before they did something like this. But I wanted to say, you're not new to this. You are true to this with Jesus Christ Superstar, with Rent, everything that you've done so far. I wanted to know how incredible was it to work with Oprah, Keith David, and Lynn Whitfield all under one umbrella?
That's a great question, because when you go to work every day with heavyweights, you go with titans, and they bring their greatness, they bring their humanity, they bring their experience, and they are A game all the time, every day, in life and in work and in heart, and they just go 100%. We are so blessed. We are so gifted to tell these stories and to have it on a network in which we can feel free to tell these stories, and we can also feel like we have the space to flex and breathe with it. I mean, we are so lucky. So when we show up to work, we show up to work. There's no halfway. There's no, let's phone this in. There's none of that. And all I have to do, if I feel tired or I've, maybe lost sight of that, I just have to look in my fellow actors' eyes. And I see in them encouragement. I also see purpose, and I see that they see what we are trying to do together with this show and with our craft.
That's beautiful.
Hi, Merle.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
I'm actually really excited to talk to you because I went to the theater conservatory at Roosevelt, which I know.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's
That's where I went to college.
Yeah. So it's really exciting to see alumni killing it. So your roots are in theater, and I know you said you missed the Broadway community. If you were to return, and I hope you do, is there a role or a show that you'd love to just sort of like sink your teeth into?
Yes.
More fireworks?
I don't think you've seen the last of me on Broadway. I'll say that.
Hi, Mo. Congratulations on all the success of the series. It's
Thank you.
fantastic to watch. Given that you're showing both the triumphs and the challenges of the Black church, while filming, did you feel any extra pressure, in representing the church and how the audience would react?
Did I feel any extra pressure? You know what? I don't think when you're trying to be truthful and tell stories, meaningful stories, that you can think about that. I think you just have to go for the truth, and then because the worry will trap you and it will arrest you. You just have to follow your heart and tell it as soulfully and truthfully and as close to the real heart of it as you feel like you can go. And I feel like we all do that. We dig and we dig and we dig for the truth. And what I think the fruits of that are is you all being here and talking about it today, which is wonderful. It means a lot to me. So
It's a lot of work. And before we step out, when you took drama as an elective, because you thought it would be an easy grade, did you believe that you'd be here at Broadway and East Fourth with this career, this voice acting career, this Broadway career?
Walter, stop it.
And the ability to say, hey, you know, Oprah's the homie.
Not in my wildest dreams. Not in my wildest dreams, but look at God.
Yes, amen. Merle Dandridge, everybody. Make sure you guys check out Greenleaf, which airs on OWN Wednesdays at 10, 9 Central. I'm Jacques Morel. This is Build.